Hi, I'm Cyrille, Chief Operating Officer at Trustpair, and I've been with Trustpair for 4 years now. So VOP stands for Verification of Payee. So it's a European regulation that is going to come into play at the end of this year. So it's a regulation that is essentially here to support the deployment of instant payments. As you know, instant payment is now live in Europe and allows you to transfer funds within 10 seconds. And with instant payments comes a need to be protected from fraud, because instant payments means instant fraud if you are a victim of a fraud attempt. So you have no possibility to call back the funds if you're a victim of a fraud. So it's a regulation where the banks and the PSPs essentially have to control, a bank account beneficiary name versus, what has been inputted by the payer, and check whether there is a correspondence between both. And that control results in 4 possible outcomes. It can be a match, which is basically the case where the name inputted and the banking data totally correspond. It can be a close match where you have slight differences, maybe a few letters or small words. It can be a no match when the algorithm, believes that there is not enough correspondence between both, or it can be a technical error. And basically, so this regulation, as most European regulation, is essentially targeting the consumer world, and it's being deployed to prevent people like you and me from being victim of a fraud when they do a transfer through instant payments. So let's say you're an individual, so VOP is basically going to be materialized in your banking application. So you want to make, a new transfer, you go into your banking application, you add up a new beneficiary, and when you add up that beneficiary, the bank or the PSP is going to control whether the name that you have inputted corresponds to the data that they have in their system, right? And they're going to give you these 4 results, match, close match, no match, or error. So that's how it's going to work. And from an individual perspective, once you will have the results, well, you take the decision of, paying that beneficiary or not. On the B2B side, it's going to be slightly different, because these guys, corporates, they do work with payment campaigns files that they do send usually from their treasury management system to the banks. And so the way VOP is going to work for them is that the bank will receive the file at payment initiation, so sent out usually by the treasury management system, and the bank is going to respond with an assessment of each payment line, saying, okay, this is a match, close match, no match, or error. And that's what the companies are going to receive when they have initiated the payments. So what we can see already from a practical perspective is that this regulation is essentially designed and practical more for the consumer world. It's going to be less applicable, we think, for larger corporates. Honestly, we see verification of Payee, so VOP as a very positive move, as a very positive regulation, because it's going to increase awareness around the issue of vendor payment fraud. I mean, we've been pioneering that market for 8 years now, and we know it's very positive to keep creating awareness on that. It's going to open up new data across Europe, and as vendor fraud solution, we obviously use this banking data as one of the inputs to provide our clients with a secure answer. So we see that really as a good first line of defense, probably more for individuals and small businesses who have the possibility to double check, whenever a verification of Payee is going to provide a close match or a no match or a not very actionable answer. We do think, though, that for the bigger companies, there are going to be some limitations, both on the security and on the practicality aspects. So on the security aspects, the first thing is that what we can see in countries where you already have schemes like VOP, like in the UK, for example, so it's been around for a couple of years now, you have around 30 or 40% of your controls through VOP that end up with a no match or a close match. So the question you might ask as a business is, what do I do with this? Do I pay? Do I not pay? Do I need to investigate further? So basically, you're going to end up with a huge amounts, with big volumes of vendors that you need to double check. Second limitation we can see on that security aspect, the geographical scope, right? So VOP is, by definition, it's a European regulation, so it's only going to address the CEPA zone at best in 2027. And obviously, if you're a big corporate, you have vendors, globally across the world, you need to check a vendor in the US. Well, you will have to be equipped with another solution. So VOP will, hit a limitation on that. And the third type of limitation we can see is more around the fact that you probably need to take a good decision. You need a bit more than just a basic name matching answer, like match, close match, or no match. I'm just going to give you an example. Let's imagine that you are ready to pay a company called Amazon that you believe to be the big Amazon. And actually, when you look a bit deeper in the data, that Amazon company is incorporated in a European country like Latvia and has a bank account in Latvia. That might be information that you might want to have at your disposal when you're taking the decision of paying. And actually, I'm just taking an example, but this type of fraud actually happens where you actually take the exact name of a famous company, you impersonate that company just with a different, a corporation or different bank accounts in a remote country, and that's how, fraudster manage to steal money. So my point is that you need more data than just a basic, name matching assessment. You need the risk context and you need information. And a platform, like Trustpair, for example, is going to provide you with additional information to take the best decision. So that's on the security side. And on the practicality side, what we can see is that, and what our clients, tell us on a daily basis, is that large companies do not check the security of their payments right before they initiate the payments because it's too late, right? Because if you realize that you have a flaw, that there is a case that you need to investigate, that you have a close match or a no match, then you will need to stop your payment campaign, reopen everything again, recontrol all your vendors, and then you're going to lose, days and days. And as we know, for big corporates, payment speed is really a key performance element. So what we recommend to our clients and what we can see on the market and what we hear also from corporates we're engaging with is that clients tend to prefer checking their vendor bank accounts when they start working with them, as soon as they onboard them. They also want to be sure that, no matter how long, the data lives within the system, the data remains accurate and up to date, that you don't have any flaws, any security flaws there. And obviously, when you do the payments, you might want to do a kind of last check, a double check to make sure that everything that is paid at the treasury level has been controlled and validated before. So what we definitely recommend is to go more for a pre-validation approach and a full, payment chain approach instead of just, limiting your checks at the last minute right before the payment is initiated. So the system that VOP proposes to corporates is not very good. It's not going to be very practical for them. And actually, we do think that most companies are likely to opt out of the VOP scheme because they have that possibility and, and basically use probably complementary solutions. And the other practicality aspect is, I would say, around how you use, how you control on a day-to-day basis. And probably on that, because VOP is a banking solution, it won't offer, the breadth of functionality, the user friendliness, the connectivity that a specialist, vendor float platform can offer. And obviously, on a day-to-day basis, that makes a huge difference, between having your controls embedded within your systems, being warned quite early when you have an issue and having the time to tackle it, rather than just receiving a file from the bank at the last minute and telling you, okay, you need to investigate this case. So as a conclusion, the way we think of it is definitely a positive step, for awareness, data opening. We think it's going to be useful for individuals, small companies. It's going to protect these people who don't have, a solution today. We do think, however, that for big corporates, who want a totally secure solution and also practicality in the way they secure their payments, these big companies are going to require, more comprehensive, more global, and more user-friendly and more connected solutions. And that's exactly, our philosophy at Trustpair is to make, obviously, the payments process 100% secure, but it's also to make, the day-to-day lives of our users, of our corporate users, as easy as we can.